I'm a VIP, and I want to live around people just like myself, rich and divorced.
Shady Acres.
I'm Avery Carrington. Shady Acres is an incredible, upscale, state-of-the-art, top-notch condominium development. A short drive out of town on some pristine wetlands, away from the noise and uninvited diversity of the city.
Shady Acres.
And when you buy into that dream that is Shady Acres, not only do you get a luxurious 5,000 square foot condo with underground parking for your newly acquired sports car, but there's also a jacuzzi for entertaining.
Jacuzzi.
Each condo is tastefully furnished with a stock bar and an exotic waterbed shaped like a dollar sign. Shady Acres also has a golf range, firing range, helipad, and exotic petting zoo when your kids come to visit. You're successful? Start defining your lifestyle. Start defining yourself.
Shady Acres.
Shady Acres. Happiness is worth the price.
Shady Acres.
Well, maybe with that subtle hint, you might be thinking, why and how come he sounds so familiar? Well, folks, that's actually me in that commercial for Shady Acres. It was such a good idea to do that bit. Since that time, early in the 80s, I have made a lot of money and a lot of friends along the way. Honestly, though, seriously, guys, I have to be frank with y'all. My real name isn't Burt Reynolds, like what I told you in the beginning of the story. It's actually Avery Carrington. I'm a real estate mogul from Vice City, and I've known Donald forever. We've done multiple business dealings in the past, not just in Vice City, but in Liberty City, also in North Yankton and all around the world. We've always had each other's best interests in sight. I was sent by the production crew not to replace the narrator, even though that other guy sucked ass, but to help my friend get back home. The new game, GTA 6, is approaching quickly, and we have to get Donald back to Vice City. Not saying Long Gun can't do the job, but option B is always on the table. And P.S., I'm obviously not dead, jerk-offs. So let's get ready for one of the last episodes of Trump in Los Santos. Sit tight and enjoy the ride.
When you're dealing with these people, they're very dangerous people. She was rated the worst vice president in history. I've never seen that poll before, but that's the poll. If you don't mind, I'm not going to be nice. Is that okay? I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
A controlled informant had confirmed the sheriff's suspicions. A private jet was being prepped for departure, carrying the city's most wanted fugitives. He knew with cold certainty that Detective Long Gun and Trump were planning their final escape. As he approached the airport perimeter, he waited for the security gate instead of smashing his cruiser straight through the chain-link barrier. He's in no rush. He drifted across the rain-slicked tarmac toward the silhouette of the idling jet. He hopped out, clutching a satchel of high-grade plastic explosives he had kept hidden for this very moment of reckoning. With practiced, trembling hands, he began to put the sticky bombs on the body of the plane. The target was locked, the detonator was set, and the sheriff prepared to ensure that this flight would never leave this airport. The silence of the night was shattered when they spotted a sea of blue and red lights pulsing against the walls of the house. Officers were already swarming the property, their badges glinting in the darkness, signaling that the authorities were 2 steps ahead of them. Recognizing the trap, Long Gun parked the car some distance from where he was observing them. Trump joined him, and Long Gun looked at Trump. He turns to him and said, "Sir, now, our options are limited. We just have to do it. I have a couple of bad ideas. Let's start with the sheriff's office." The mob boss wouldn't be controlling anything anymore. That chapter was closed, floating down a river in some canyon miles back. As he rolled down the main drag toward his office, a sleek black sedan was parked in front of the bail bondsman office. Violent Fart didn't slow down. He drove past the sedan, his face a mask of practiced indifference. "Damn," Violent Fart muttered, his foot hovering over the brake. "I forgot about this guy." He realized then that Nicest One had been too cautious to travel alone. The driver was the insurance policy waiting to pick up a boss who was never going to walk off that bridge. He pulled into the back lot of the bail bondsman office, the tires crunching over gravel. He killed the engine, the sudden silence of the afternoon amplified by the distant hum of the idling sedan at the front of the building. He circled around the front corner of the building, coming up behind the driver, who's standing outside the car at this point. The engine was still purring, the air conditioning vents humming a soft, rhythmic tune. He was entirely unaware that the man he was waiting for had already been erased from the ledger of life. He didn't offer a warning. There was no room for dialogue in a world defined by the violent end he had just delivered. He raised the weapon and squeezed the trigger. Violent Fart ran to the back of the building. "One more loose end," he whispered to the wind. Jumping into his cruiser, he left the scene, with the paramedics arriving at the same time. On his way to the station during his drive, he couldn't help but to think of the men he wiped out today. New Yorkers, high up and powerful New Yorkers, international New Yorkers. You would think the sheriff would be thinking about his consequences after such actions. Well, not really. This joker is actually laughing to himself. You want to know what he's thinking about? He's thinking about what the driver's name was. He didn't catch it. Well, he doesn't expect a hard day, just some paperwork in his office, but does he have a surprise in store just hours after his arrival? Briggs gasped, his chest heaving, his service weapon still smoking in his trembling hand. He had only meant to restrain her. She wasn't supposed to die. She was the leverage. "Damn it," Briggs hissed, the sound echoing off the cold stone walls. From the shadows of the adjacent cell, a pair of wide, horror-stricken eyes watched him. Lil Toots Longgun's wife pressed herself against the bars. She had seen everything. Lil Toots didn't wait. She lunged for the loose bar she'd been working on for hours. With a final, desperate shove, it gave way. She bolted past the frozen, pale-faced Briggs and sprinted up the service stairs. Lil Toots didn't stop. She shoved through the heavy front doors and tumbled out into the blinding afternoon sunlight. Across the street was her husband, Detective Longgun. Longgun turned, his eyes widening as he saw his wife sprinting across the busy thoroughfare, panicked and disheveled. Behind her, Sheriff Violent Fart emerged onto the precinct steps, his hand resting on his holster, a cold, calculating grin spreading across his face as he realized the situation was spiraling out of control. Lil Toots didn't see the bus. It roared down the road, a massive red blur of steel. The impact was sickening. She landed in the street, still and broken. Longgun looked up, locking eyes with Sheriff Violent Fart standing on the steps. Slowly, deliberately, Longgun raised his hand and drew a single finger across his throat. It was a promise, a death sentence delivered in silence. He turned, sprinted to his car, and peeled away the opposite direction of the station. Violent Fart didn't flinch. He watched the detective disappear, then picked his phone up with a calm, steady hand. "Listen, nothing on the radio, but I need all units. I want a yellow Mustang intercepted. Shoot to kill. No witnesses, no radio contact. Communicate on the phone. He got the distraction he needed, though. He also now has somebody to pin the morning's mess on. As the sirens began to wail in the distance, Violent Fart turned his back on the carnage in the street and walked back inside, his boots clicking rhythmically against the floor as he headed back down to the basement to clean up the rest of the garbage. On the next episode of Trump in Los Santos,